In this segment with in First Things First with Nick Wright and Chris Carter, they're going to discuss with Mar Fratello. You see Mar Fratello right there, one of the NBA's knowledgeable coaches slash commentators. They're going to talk about if the Rockets are the best team, in the NBA's as of right now.
Hello, back with us again. You had so much fun last time. You wanted to come back and experience it all over again.
Thanks for having me back. I wanted to see this guy last time because last time we were together, you were presenting us the championship trophy, I believe, at Shaq's fantasy camp.
Yeah, I was on the opposite end of a beatdown by Coach. And Coach talked trash to me the whole game.
Really? Yeah, brutal.
Wait, you were playing or coaching? I was playing. He was coaching. Yes.
And Mar Fratello was a pretty good coach in his day. I believe he coached the Atlanta Hawks and the Grizzlies. I can't remember if he coached another team, but Mar Fratello, he's a pretty good coach back in his day, and a pretty good knowledgeable commentator. They usually have some insightful things to say.
Star.
Oh, okay. All right.
We already knew.
Good to see you. Stacked team. Oh, yeah? Yes.
We were loaded.
At least he admits it. All right, let's pretend it was late January and you decided to take a break from following the NBA, and then today you decided to check back in. Now I'm going to fill you in. Here's the update. Rockets still have not lost a game. Not since then. Nothing's changed. Last night they won their 16th straight game. They beat Oklahoma City. And the Warriors beat the Nets, their 6th win, stay a half game behind them in the West. All right, Coach, have the Rockets done enough for you to believe that they are indeed the best team?
They are.
Let me say this. The Rockets are playing very good basketball this season with the addition of Chris Paul. Like I said before, I didn't think that Chris Paul and James Harden would be a good match together, but they have proven under Mike D'Antoni and that D'Antoni system that they can be a pretty good 1-2 punch, along with Eric Gordon, and they got Clint Capella down low. They have some other pieces, Trevor Ariza. But yes, they have been able to put that whole team together and having a pretty good year. But like I said before, they are not better than the Warriors. The Warriors are proven champions. The Warriors went 73-9 one previous year. And plus, the Warriors are only a half a game back behind the Rockets. The Rockets are playing great basketball. I don't believe Golden State has played a too many stretches where they played at their peak. Because like I always say, if Golden State play at their peak, if they play their best basketball, no one's going to beat them, not even the Houston Rockets.
They're the one team in the West that I gave a chance of beating Golden State a couple weeks back when we were talking about this. And there's a number of reasons why. First of all, this is the one team that's not afraid to get in a shootout with Golden State. You want to shoot a three? We'll shoot a three. You want to shoot another three? We'll shoot another three.
But see, that's the problem with these teams nowadays. As good as the Rockets are with shooting threes, they are not better at shooting threes than Golden State. Golden State possibly have the best three shooters of any on one team in any era. I can't remember three great shooters like this on one team. You can get teams that have two great shooters or one great shooter, but I never seen it in the NBA, and I've seen a lot of basketball with guys with Kevin Durant that can shoot the ball as well as Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson all on the same team. And that's the problem. Teams are not going to be able in the 7-game series to outshoot these guys. It's just not going to happen. The Rockets may have games when they get hot. So are the Golden State Warriors. They're gonna have games when they can get hot. Can you beat them at shooting 3 for 3? I just don't think so. I think the key to beating the Warriors is playing great defense, slow the game down some, and close out on the 3-point shooters. But to say you're gonna beat them 3 for 3, you're not scared to shoot a 3. That's not gonna do it. A lot of these teams need to stop trying to play like the Golden State Warriors because they don't have the Golden State Warriors roster personnel.
So they're not afraid of Golden State's pace or the amount of points that they'll put up on the board. The next thing is you have 2 all-star, all-NBA point guards. You never have to have anything going on without one of them being on the floor. So you want to take Harden out, you still have Chris Paul on the floor. You can play them both.
And that, to me, that's one of the Rockets' greatest strengths. They can always have a point guard, and James Harden masquerading as a point guard. I think he's a shooting guard, but He does play the point guard position very well with his assists and being able to control a game. We all know Chris Paul is probably the greatest point guard of his generation. Pure point guard. He plays like a point guard. So, yes, they can have those players on the floor separately controlling the pace, and that's what they're going to have to do against Golden State. They're going to have those guys play separately a lot of times controlling the pace, and to me, that will give them the best chance of upsetting the Golden State Warriors.
Both together. This team scores easily, and they've improved at the offensive end because of adding people like, all of a sudden, late pickup, Joe Johnson. Big shot maker, end of game, not afraid to take that shot. You have the ability to score bundles of points in a hurry because of all the three-point shooters they have. The second unit is deeper. The most important thing to me is this is a much improved defense. Now, people don't realize this because we've known for the last 3 years that Golden State is not only the best offensively, but right at the top defensively. Right now, opponents' points per game, Houston's 13th in the NBA. Golden State's 21st. That's point per game that the opponents are scoring. Field goal percentage-wise, Golden State is ahead of Houston. So their defense is way ahead of where it ever was. They've added toughness in P.J. Tucker and Chris Paul. It's a different team.
Well, listen, when you're a coach or in the front...
What Marv Fratello is saying is correct with the numbers, but see, you can't quantify or try to... You're not going to get a great look at Golden State based on those numbers because, like I said, Golden State has really... They have been coasting throughout this season. Yes, they have played great basketball because they got the second best record. But like I said, they have been on coasting because when you win and go to the finals as many times they did in a row, 3 years in a row, I believe this is the third year, will be the fourth year if they go this year. They have, boredom has set in because the regular season to them is more of a nuisance to them because they're looking forward to the playoffs. And if you go back and look at these last 6 games when they're on this 6-game winning streak, those numbers that Marv Fratello is talking about probably have dramatically improved. So like I said, the Warriors, you cannot quantify them on those numbers because like I said, they have been cruising, but now they are locked in. They see the light on the end of the tunnel. And we're just going to see what happens when they get in the playoffs. I believe Golden State will play their best basketball in the playoffs.
Office and you're building a team, you kind of go through check marks and say, okay, do we have enough shooters? Houston's got plenty of them. Do we have rim protection? They got that with Clint Capella. Do we have good perimeter defense? They got that with Ariza and Luke Richard, Mabon Mute. Bench scoring, Eric Gordon, like the toughness. You mentioned P.J. Tucker, Nene. Like, I don't see, when I'm watching Houston, I don't see, there's not a yeah, but to me. Like, yeah, they have all these things, but I don't think they have that. Last year, the question was toughness and perimeter defense. Like, I don't see that with Houston. As great as Golden State is, their yeah, but is bench scoring, right? Like, now, they can be overwhelming because of their starting lineup. But that, when I look at these two teams, that's the way I look at it. I'm curious how you feel on that.
But see, like, Nick Wright, I'm pretty sure he understands. And maybe he don't understand. When you get to the playoffs, your bench shrinks anyway. So when he says Golden State don't have a great bench, they don't have to have a great bench to win a title. They just have to have a bench that's comparable. You know what I'm saying? They got Iguodala coming off the bench. Now they got Swaggy P coming off the bench. They have guys that's coming off the bench that can get them some scoring punch, enough scoring punch to where they don't blow, the lead that Golden State builds up, or dig a big hole where Golden State can't dig themselves out of. You're gonna go to maybe a 8-man rotation when you get to the playoffs anyway, and no team from top to bottom, 8 for 8, has a better 8-man roster than the Golden State Warriors. They just not gonna have it because Golden State, they have the best. They're gonna have the best 4 players, combined players on one team going into the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? So to say that they don't have a bench, I know I've been hearing that all year to say that Golden State don't have a bench. Golden State don't have to have a tremendous bench. The Rockets have to have a really good bench. But Golden State, with them having 4 all-stars in their starting lineup, they do not have to have a tremendous bench to win the NBA title. They just have to have a comparable bench.
Exactly. What Daryl Morey did in Houston is go out at the end of the season, obviously sat down with Mike D'Antoni and said, okay, where are our problems? Where don't we match up with Golden State? And they went out and added the stuff that they needed to add. And the season has been Look, the only time that they've had a dip in the season, I said in the beginning of the year, wow, Capella is really a much improved guy. The only dip that Houston has had is when Capella was out and missed those games. They lost.
And then another thing, the Rockets, as good as they have been defensive-wise, as Marv Tello has pointed out, Chris Paul does not match up against Steph Curry well. Steph Curry always has the upper hand and has always kind of took it to Chris Paul. As good as Chris Paul is on defense, he has a handful every time he plays Steph Curry. That's not a good matchup for Chris Paul. And they have no one on their team that can guard Kevin Durant. Absolutely no. Trevor Ariza is a decent defensive player, but he cannot do anything with Kevin Durant. No one in the league can do anything with Kevin Durant. So I just believe the Golden State Warriors will win this series. It may be a hard-fought 6-game series or a hard-fought 5 or 7-game series, but I just believe Golden State will prevail and will come out the West in another NBA Finals for the 4th year in a row.
1 or 2 games in that stretch, but that's a down time for the season that they've had right now. 50 wins already, 13 losses. So everything that they need, they have. With Golden State, there is some question about the bench. I'll tell you what, when you watch them now, they move McGee into that starting lineup, and he's still there. You've got a pretty good group.
Well, it may be some questions about their bench, like I said, but like they all, when you get into the playoffs, the bench shrinks. But there are questions on the Rockets side that y'all not bringing up. Chris Paul, Chris Paul has not had really great playoff success as far as getting his team, over the hump to win a title. So is James Harden. James Harden had that meltdown last year, so James Harden has a lot to prove. So the Warriors don't have anything to prove. They don't have any of those hiccups. All they guys, they have experienced championships. They won a championship. Kevin Durant finally got his last year, so he don't have that monkey on his back. The Warriors will be ready, poised to win, and we're just going to see what's going to happen.
Not bad coming off the bench. Swaggy P, which we're not allowed to say that anymore because they've completely eliminated that from the jargon of Golden State. Use his name, don't give him any nicknames.
But like I said, they're trying to because the Golden State Warriors are so dominant. The NBA is trying, and a lot of these commentators are trying to push the narrative that the Houston Rockets are going to beat them. I know Stephen A. Smith said he gives the Rockets the best chance of beating Golden State. Okay, I mean they may have the best chance of beating Golden State, but they're not going to beat Golden State, man. It's like a sprinter, racing against Usain Bolt, and you trying to say, hey, he has the best chance to beat Usain Bolt, but he gonna come in second anyway. I mean, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, all great teams have foes. The Lakers, back in the 2000s, Sacramento was the team that can best beat them. Sacramento and San Antonio. And, the Bulls era, it was the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers, and sometimes the Miami Heat. So great teams are always going to have those foes, those great foes, but they're great teams for a reason. They usually overcome those foes. And I believe Golden State will overcome the Houston Rockets. But the Houston Rockets, in my opinion, needs the number 1 seed. Because if Golden State gets the number 1 seed, that will play a huge mental stump for the Houston Rockets. Because the Houston Rockets are playing, to me, the best basketball that they can play in this 16-game winning streak. I believe they're in a 16-game winning streak. And Golden State has just started turning it on after the All-Star break. And if Golden State go ahead and have the best record at the end of the year and have the home field advantage throughout the playoffs, I think mentally that will fragmentize the Houston Rockets. But that's what I wanted to say, man. Let me know what you think. I'm out.